The night hung like a shroud, heavy and still. Elijah lay on the cot, his body twitching sporadically, every muscle taut. The low hum of whispered conversations floated through the tent, but to him, it sounded like distant thunder. Eyes closed, his mind was a tempest. Blood-soaked fields emerged from the darkness, bodies strewn about like discarded dolls. A young soldier, face unrecognizable from the blast that took his life, reached out, mouth moving silently. TVT. Collins, perhaps, or another of the countless who'd met their end too soon. Suddenly, a monstrous machine, dripping in oil and gore, lumbered into the vision. Its metallic form seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting, every movement accompanied by the screech of metal. "You cannot escape," Legion's voice echoed, the dream landscape pulsating to its rhythm. Every drop of blood, every drop of re-scream, every death. It feeds me. Elijah's breathing grew ragged. He felt chains, cold and unyielding, wrapping around him. They dragged him deeper into the darkness, where distorted memories played out. Friends he'd watched die, moments of sheer terror, choices he regretted. Each flash was a stab of pain. Reality and dream bled into one. At one moment, he felt the weight of his rifle in his hands. The next, he was back in that infernal machine maze, pursued by an ever-present, malicious presence. "Elijah, wake up!" A voice penetrated the fog, hands shaking him roughly. His eyes snapped open, finding Peavy. Lewis hovering over him, face etched with concern. "You were screaming, thrashing. We couldn't wake you." Elijah's voice was a raw whisper. "It's all real, Lewis. Every nightmare, every vision, Legion." Lewis glanced around, noting the concerned looks from their comrades. "Easy now," he whispered, leaning closer. "We've all seen things, heard things. But you're slipping, Elijah. More than the rest of us." A particularly gruesome image flashed in Elijah's mind. His hand shot up to grip Lewis's arm, fingers digging deep. They took them, Lewis, the machines. They took their souls, fed on them. Lewis's gaze never wavered, though pain flashed across his face from Elijah's grip. "Listen to me. This war, it does things to a man. Breaks him. But we have to hold on, for each other." Elijah's voice was pleading, desperate. "It's not just the war. It's him. Legion. He wants something from me." Seeing Elijah's tortured state, Lewis's resolve hardened. "Then we'll face him together. But first, we need to get you help. Proper help." Tears glistened in Elijah's eyes, relief mingling with despair. Lewis pulled Elijah into a brief, fierce embrace. "I believe in you. And I promise, when this damn night ends, we'll find a way out of this darkness." As dawn approached, two soldiers sat side by side, united against unseen foes. Their bond a testament to the power of human connection amidst the horrors of war. The muddy ground squelched underfoot, a constant reminder of the grim reality of trench life. Elijah stood there, gazing at the network of ditches, barbed wire, and destroyed fortifications one last time. Around him, life continued. Private Moore approached slowly, pausing before he said, "Time to go, Elijah." There was a clear note of sadness in his voice. Elijah took a moment before responding, his voice distant. "I never thought it'd end like this. Not for me." Moore clasped his shoulder, eyes searching Elijah's. "This war." From the corner of his eye, Elijah caught the gaze of PVT. Lewis and a few others. They stood apart, their expressions a blend of understanding and sadness, members of that unspoken fraternity that had experienced Legion's haunting firsthand. A younger soldier spat into the mud, glaring at Elijah. "Madness is a coward's way out," he sneered, but a sharp nudge from his mate silenced him. Elijah's gaze was hollow as he whispered, "They don't understand. More, the real war. It's not out there." He pointed towards no man's land, but in here. He tapped his temple. Moore sighed. Maybe it's better they don't. Ignorance is a luxury in times like these. The transport vehicle, a war-weary truck with peeling paint and creaky wheels, rumbled to life nearby. The driver leaned out. "Ready when you are." Elijah took one final look around, the memories of battles fought and friends lost flashing before him. The stench of blood, sweat, and decay clung to his nostrils. He could still hear the distant cries of the wounded and the ever-present hum of flies. Taking a deep breath, he whispered more to himself than anyone else. "Goodbye, old friend." The friend wasn't a person, but the front itself, a place of pain, loss, and ironically, where he'd felt most alive. As the transport began its journey, the horrific landscape of the front began to fade. In its place, the relatively untouched countryside began to emerge. But as the scenes of natural beauty rolled by, Elijah's heart was heavy, weighted by the knowledge of the supernatural war he was still embroiled in. Lewis's voice echoed in his mind, "We'll find a way out of this darkness." But as the miles increased between Elijah and the front, he couldn't help but wonder if the darkness was something he could ever truly leave behind.